Before the nation of Hungary existed, before its cities rose and its borders were drawn, there was a people defined not by land, but by the horizon. They were the Magyars, a roaming, war-hardened confederation of tribes sweeping across the Eurasian plains. To the settled empires of Europe, they were a force of nature, a storm from the east that seemed impossible to contain. This is the story of how these nomadic warriors, masters of the horse and bow, rode out of the mists of the steppe to forge a kingdom at the very heart of a continent. Their origins, a puzzle still being pieced together, begin not on the open plains, but deep within the forests west of the Ural Mountains. Here, ancient Finno-Ugric-speaking peoples lived a semi-nomadic life of hunting and gathering. The Magyar language, a unique and isolated tongue in modern Europe, carries the echoes of this distant past, a linguistic fossil connecting Hungarians to peoples thousands of kilometers away in Siberia. Sometime in the first millennium BCE, a group broke away, drifting south toward the Great Steppe. This was a pivotal moment. The forest gave way to an endless sea of grass, a landscape that demanded a new way of life. They learned to tame the horse, to live from their herds, and to navigate the vast, unforgiving expanse. For centuries, they moved within the orbits of powerful steppe empires. First, the Khazar Khaganate, a sophisticated multi-ethnic state that controlled the trade routes between Europe and Asia. Under Khazar influence, the 7 Magyar tribes and 3 allied Kabar tribes formed a durable confederation, honing their political and military structures. They settled for a time in a land known as Livadia, but the steppe was a volatile world. Pressure from a rival confederation, the Pechenegs, forced them westward once more, into a new homeland between the Dnieper and Danube rivers, a land they called the Etelköz, the land between the rivers. It was from this staging ground, in the late 9th century, that the Magyars would erupt into European history. Their military prowess was legendary, built upon the twin pillars of horsemanship and archery. The Magyar warrior and his horse were a single entity, capable of covering vast distances with astonishing speed. Their weapon of choice was the powerful composite recurve bow, a marvel of engineering made from wood, horn, and sinew. It was light enough to be used from the saddle, yet powerful enough to pierce armor at a distance. Their tactics were a terrifying dance of speed and deception. They would swarm an enemy with clouds of arrows, refusing to engage in close-quarters combat. Their most famous maneuver was the feigned retreat, a disciplined, staged withdrawal designed to lure heavier, slower-moving European knights into a disorganized pursuit. Once the enemy line was broken and overextended, the Magyars would turn in an instant, unleashing a final, devastating volley of arrows on their trapped and exhausted foes. To the chroniclers of the time, who watched in horror from monastery walls, they were not soldiers. They were the arrows of God, a divine scourge sent to punish a sinful world. For over half a century, from the late 800s to the mid-900s, Magyar raiding parties became the terror of Europe. They were not bent on conquest, but on plunder. Their lightning-fast campaigns were designed to capture wealth and slaves, bypassing fortified cities to strike at soft targets like monasteries and villages. They rode as far west as modern-day France and Spain, south into the heart of Italy, where they sacked Pavia, and deep into the Balkans, clashing with the Byzantine Empire. European rulers found themselves utterly unprepared for this new form of warfare. Their armies, built around heavily armored knights, were too slow and cumbersome to counter the Magyars' fluid tactics. Often, the only solution was to pay them off, offering vast sums of gold and silver, known as tribute, in exchange for peace. But this only encouraged further raids, creating a cycle of violence and extortion that destabilized entire kingdoms. But the Etelköz, their base of operations, was not secure. Renewed pressure from the Pechenegs at their rear, combined with a call for aid from the Byzantine emperor, set the stage for their most audacious move. Around the year 895, under the leadership of their Grand Prince, Arpad, the entire Magyar Confederation, hundreds of thousands of people with their herds and belongings migrated into the Carpathian Basin. This vast, bowl-shaped plain, ringed by protective mountains, was a perfect new homeland. It offered rich pastures for their horses and herds, and its geography was ideal for their style of warfare, providing a secure fortress from which to launch raids and a fertile heartland in which to build a future. The conquest was not a single event, but a gradual process of subjugating the scattered Slavic and Avar populations who already lived there. The settlement in the Carpathian Basin marked the beginning of a profound transformation. The raids continued for another few decades, but a fundamental shift was underway. The nomadic lifestyle began to give way to a more settled, agricultural existence. The need for a permanent home and the realities of governing a diverse population forced the Magyar leadership to think beyond plunder. The decisive turning point came in 955 at the Battle of Lechfeld, where a unified German army under Otto the Great inflicted a crushing defeat on a large Magyar force, effectively ending their long-range raids into Western Europe. The shock of this defeat accelerated the change. The Magyar elite realized that their survival depended not on raiding their neighbors, but on joining them. This led to a deliberate policy of state-building, spearheaded by Arpad's descendants. Grand Prince Géza, who ruled in the late 10th century, understood that the future lay with Christian Europe. He invited missionaries and forged diplomatic ties with the Holy Roman Empire, arranging a strategic marriage for his son, Vaik. Upon his baptism, Vaik took the name Stephen. On Christmas Day in the year 1000, with a crown sent by the Pope, Stephen was crowned the first king of Hungary. This single act symbolized the completion of their journey. The Magyar raiders had become a European kingdom. Stephen anchored his new state firmly in Western Christianity, establishing a church hierarchy, enacting laws based on European models, and forcefully suppressing pagan traditions. The nomadic confederation had transformed into a feudal monarchy. Yet even as they integrated, the Magyars retained a powerful sense of their unique identity. Their language, completely unrelated to the Germanic, Slavic, and Romance tongues surrounding it, survived and flourished. Their rich oral traditions, tales of a mythical homeland and heroic ancestors, were woven into the fabric of the new Christian kingdom. The old shamanistic beliefs, with their reverence for the sky and the natural world, slowly faded, but echoes remained in folklore and customs for centuries. Their material culture, from the intricate metalwork of their sabers and belt buckles to their powerful equestrian traditions, left an indelible mark. The legacy of the Magyars is therefore a story of both radical change and remarkable continuity. They reshaped the map of Europe, creating a powerful and enduring state in a region that would become a crossroads of empires. From the Ural forests to the heart of Europe, the journey of the Magyars is a testament to adaptation and resilience. They were steppe warriors who became kingdom builders, outsiders who forged a nation that has stood for over 1,000 years. Their story is not just the history of Hungary, but a vital chapter in the making of modern Europe, a mystery from the plains, whose echoes still resonate today.